Hi there, I'm Lee Kellogg, and thank you for watching this video. I greatly appreciate you spending some time with me today. We're being a little crafty. You know, I like to paint with watercolors, among other things, and watercolors have just been where I've been at lately, and I've also delved a little bit into acrylics, but we'll get into that later in another video. Today, we're doing this little painting. Under 20 minutes to do this, didn't take long. And I'm going to be talking about a method that I picked up from an artist named Bob Burridge. You can find him online, and he has his color wheel where he talks about your dominant color, your focal point colors, and your spice colors. And what I have done in this picture is used no more than 4 colors. There are only 4 watercolors in this, and it doesn't seem like it because there's such a tonal range there, and that's part of the beauty of it. When you mix with just a few colors, they always go together. So if you pick like 3 colors plus a neutral and maybe a white, remember whites are going to go pastel, they're going to tone the color down. Your dark, your dark tint, whether it's like a pardon me, I use Bloodstone Genuine, which is not really a dark tint, it's not a neutral tint or a black, but it does darken it down. It has a little purplish overtones, and I just love Bloodstone Genuine. It's by Daniel Smith, watercolor. And I like what it does with the colors, and it has a little granulating going on there. And it adds just a nice dark tint to everything with a little bit of color. So sort of kind of like a Payne's Gray maybe, or a Jane's Gray, or I think there's Carlos's neutral and Carlos's caliente in watercolor. There's a whole bunch of different grays that you can get. So it's like, find the one that you like. So I could keep talking about color, but let's go paint, and we'll see you at the end. All right, today I am going to do a quick card based on this photo that I took many years ago up in the mountains in Idaho. It's sort of a flat photo, a flat scene, color, nothing amazing about it at all, but it's just got some good inspiration that we can turn into a nice quick 4x6 painting that I'm going to turn into a card. So I'm going to use this fence as my foreground and my focal point. And then we've got the water and the green grass and the trees and the mountains and the sky. So we're going to play with that. I am going to sketch in my fence posts, my fence, that rail fence, so that I get my focal point going here. And yes, I could have done this a little better, but for the purposes of this card and the greeting card that I'm making from it, it's not that big of a deal. So I'm going to paint this in. I'm going to make a little brown on my palette. Bring this over here so you can see and see what I'm doing. I'm using a quinacridone gold here and a little bit of a green. Just making it sort of a good muddy orangey green. And gonna paint those fence rails in. You can see that actually turned out to be sort of a nice brown. So I've got my river going here, I've got mountains, and I want a sky. I'm going to do my sky next. And sort of outline the mountains with water here. And I probably should have started with this so it would dry, because it's so much fun to just put in a little bit of blue paint and let the clouds form their own will. And the key is to let that be, not do anything with it. Although I'm starting to want to do something with it here, because I want a good edge at my mountains. So while that's playing, we got to let this dry before we can work on the mountain part, before we can work on this. So I can go back, this is pretty dry, and work on my green foreground. And I am trying to use the same, I'm going to work with the same colors. This one, the blue, is phthalo blue that I used, and I have used phthalo yellow green and then quinacridone gold to make this. So I can still work with the quinacridone gold and the phthalo green, which is a nice bright green, to create and I'm mixing this blue with the bright green that I selected, sort of as my foreground. And the other thing you want is you want your foreground to be dark. A dark foreground brings it closer to you, whereas a pale foreground takes it away from you, makes it go further away. And since it's foreground, it's close to you. So you want that as dark as you can get while keeping it the right colors. So I'm mixing that phthalo yellow green, which is a bright, almost fluorescent-y green, with some of that blue, with the phthalo blue. And actually, you can see that at work in this photo. If you look at this green here in the foreground is actually a darker green than all these grasses back here along the water's edge. So it's interesting how that actually does work out and comes into play. Now we're going to do a little bit of the water. And it's going to pick up some of the green, and that's okay because there's a lot of green reflected in that. And in my picture, the photograph that I took, it was an overcast day. And that water is gray as the sky is gray. I'm making mine a sunny day, so my water is going to have some blue into it, so it can reflect the sky color that's going on and the blue of the mountains that we will be painting in here pretty soon. So in trying to keep to 3 colors, you can also use a black and a white. knowing that white will make your color go pastel. Black will sort of mute it out, make it a little grayish. My sky is still real wet, but I can get to work on doing these edges here. And in essence, in my photo, I have lines of color. So we've sort of done the edges here, and I've got this next band of trees, and then this band of trees, and then I've got our mountains. So I'm sort of looking at this, going, okay, what am I going to do here? And I would say my next band of trees is a little olivey. So I'm going to mix a little bit of that quinacridone gold in with my blue and my phthalo blue and my phthalo green. And that sort of mutes it down. So I'm still only using 3 colors here. We're getting there. This is looking a little drier, but you can see how that sky is just coming along just beautifully. Absolutely gorgeous. So my next line of trees is a little darker, so I'm adding a little more blue into the green and quinacridone gold mixture to give this dark, just to give it a little separation here. And remember, your watercolors will always dry a little darker, or a little lighter, I'm sorry, than they go down. So when they're wet, they're darker. And now I am going to add some Bloodstone Genuine, which is a sort of a dark, not quite black color, but it does go sort of blacky dark. And I'm mixing it with my other 3 colors to get a good color for the mountains. So mixing it more with the blue and a little bit of the orange. And I can show you what, there's the color that I've ended up with, sort of a nice dark, almost evergreen color. I'm adding some Bloodstone Genuine in here where I want that darkness to be. Plus the Bloodstone Genuine is a granulating color, which means that you see the particles of the minerals come out, and it's just a delight to paint with. It's a whole lot of fun because I like the granulating look when it dries. And that was Bloodstone Genuine I put down on that, down here in the foreground to darken it up a little bit. And I'm going to say that is probably done. I could work on it some more, adding some more little details and grasses and things if I wanted to. But, you know, you can worry a painting to death if you want. And I'm not too sure I want to worry this too much. Oh, this dark line along the shore edge, which is actually there in the painting or in the photo, makes a difference in a lot of places. Gives it some definition and I think I'm going to leave it alone. So I think we're good. Look at that. Quick painting in less than 20 minutes. There you go. So have fun. Go out and grab an old photo of yours and make a painting. And also notice that I left these areas bare. It's like I could go in and fill them in, but you know, it's nice to have some white in a watercolor to allow the eye to sort of rest. And you can also see here in the river area, I didn't make it all solid. So it's also reflecting the sky, which in this painting looks like it's got some clouds, as does the water. The water is not one solid color. We've got some variations in the blue here. All right, I hope you enjoyed that little video. I hope you're inspired to go out, grab an old photo, you know, nothing special here. This was just a photo that I probably should have discarded decades ago that I didn't, that I worked with today and produced, I think, a pretty decent little watercolor. So that's how I do a lot of things. I just pick up like photos. I take a lot of photos. I take photos of things that inspire me. I have another photo that I found that actually I printed this and the color is definitely off, but this is also probably almost 40 years old. This is a photo I took in Costa Rica many, many years ago that I'm going to work with, even though it's got a yellow tint to it. The color's not great. There's enough information here for me to be excited about it. And I remember what excited me about this image then. So that'll be another video where we'll talk about that one. But you can find me at leekellogg.com. My paintings are there, my classes are there, products for sale. Sign up for Creativity Monthly, and we'll see you soon. Stay inspired and be creative. Bye-bye.